All right, we're on. This is it. Episode number 2 of Mike Check with Mike Shaw, the podcast version. Thank you so much.
So wait a second. This isn't televised?
No, no, it's not
So
televised.
I got all dressed up and shaved for nothing?
Yeah, it's exactly right. Trent Humphries, ladies and gentlemen, is our guest today. Trent, thanks for being on, man.
Hey, I'm glad to be here.
Hey, you look great, by the way. I don't know.
Yeah, I was due.
So, all right. So I do have a camera pointed at me, and I am recording this video and audio. And, you know, since you own Blasted Contraptions computers, maybe you can help me with this. Yesterday, I was trying to render this 37-minute. I did some light editing yesterday's podcast, and I was going to release it as a YouTube video as well, the whole thing. And I used Sony Vegas 15, and it got 30 minutes into the render, and my computer just shut off. Now,
yeah,
and that happened 2 other times. Now, I have a fan in the back of my computer that's broken. I'm thinking I'm overheating, and that's my problem.
Well, that's the one thing. There's very, very few things that you're going to do to tax your computers. And one of those, there's basically 2 things. You can do Bitcoin mining,
yeah,
or video compression.
Yeah.
Those 2 things are the things that are going to hurt your computers the most. And when you talk about computing power and memory, that's what you need it for. And most people don't do that, so it's not a big problem. But people who do, you need to get your cooling in order.
Yeah, and so the broken fan is the problem. That's a pretty easy fix. I just need to get around to fixing it.
Yeah, in fact, a lot they don't even really use fans anymore. It's all liquid cooled now.
Really? So just throw some water on it? Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, pretty much. They have other solutions that use that, because the fans going out is a pretty common thing, and sometimes the price for a fan going out is a fried motherboard. So they kind of moved away from that solution as we got more technology savvy.
So you're saying when we're done talking and I go to render this for a YouTube video, maybe I should wait till the fan's fixed?
Exactly.
Okay. All right. That's good to know. Look at that. Free expert advice right here on episode 2 of the podcast.
Oh, I'm sending an invoice.
Oh, are you? Okay, good. You can send it. I'm not saying, I don't know what'll happen after that. It's September 12th, by the way, as we're talking. And this should drop before 5 o'clock. So I should have everything worked out. All right, so we've already started. I know you're a geeky guy. I want to talk about the Apple event too, but I want to start with this Pima County story has gone nationwide now. Operation Stone Garden funds, the federal grant back to border counties from basically the Department of Homeland Security. The Pima County Board of Supervisors have rejected accepting the funds, basically saying it's racist and we shouldn't be rounding up illegals and we hate ICE. That's kind of their jam on this. This is the most ridiculous, dumb thing that the supervisors have ever done, and that's saying a lot. And I'm wondering, Trent, is it possible that perhaps maybe finally they've overreached so far that one of these Democrats may actually lose to a Republican in the next race because of this issue?
You'd think that, but it's been so far gerrymandered, though.
Yeah.
And Rick Harrell was key responsible in making sure that happened. So he always had a safe seat. But I don't know, you'd have to almost reapportion things in order to get it right, because it's really badly gerrymandered. And that's the reality, sad reality we face is that the way they cut it up. I mean, Allie Miller's always going to have a safe district, and Steve Christie's always going to have a safe district. But the price is that the Democrats have 3 safe districts.
Right. So then, Operation Stone Garden is not what they're accusing. Like Valadez, who voted against it last time this came up last year, and just took so much heat for it, and then kind of retracted his vote and said, "Oh, I didn't understand what the money was for," and ended up passing last time. This time around, they're kind of like Sharon Bronson wrote an op-ed piece slamming it, and the Democrats stood strong against this thing.
Well, here's the really stupid thing: is none of these people were elected sheriff, right?
Right.
They don't get to dictate how we do law enforcement in the county.
Apparently, they do.
No, they can. I guess they can reject the funding,
right?
But they don't get to say what the sheriff can enforce and which laws he can't enforce. They're just going to enforce it like they always have. That's what Sheriff Napier said. There's going to be no difference in the way this is actually enforced tomorrow or a year from now than it was enforced last year or the year before that when they got the money. So basically, they just said, you know what, we are not going to take this money, and that's the only thing that's going to change. Is basically they've shorted their sheriff's department $1.4 million.
Yeah.
That's the only outcome, policy wise that's happened. And I guarantee they are not going to come up with that money in another way.
No, they're not.
They're just going to say, you know what, we're not going to take this money. And who that really hurts are the people in the outlying parts of the county that aren't in Tucson. I mean, it'll hurt people in Tucson, but mostly it'll hurt these areas outside of Tucson that don't have a lot of coverage. The Pima County is large, and there are all kinds of people in Pima County that aren't in metro areas.
Yeah. Well,
and these idiots have just hurt those people tremendously.
So, for example, when Brian Terry was shot and killed by illegals, that was right outside of town. It was not that far outside of town, just west of Tucson, where that happened. I have friends who live in the Picture Rocks area who talk about basically the drug smuggling and human trafficking corridors are right behind where they live. This is going on right here. And and Tucson.com has this from Ramon Valadez. He's been worried for months about the unintended consequences of his decision to approve the Stone Garden funding. And then it says here that he was concerned about the public's trust in Pima County deputies. He's concerned that it has eroded. Now, here's the clincher. He blamed the Trump administration specifically for the gradual destruction of the confidence of local law enforcement.
If he wants to make changes, he can run for sheriff.
Right.
How about he tries that? And then he could do that. But otherwise, you know what? You just need to fund your sheriff's department, you moron.
This is virtue signaling for Trump haters.
Well, and that's the thing is, I've had arguments with some of the people local in the press about is virtual signaling a thing, and if so, what's the problem? This is the problem, right? You have hurt a lot of people that, depend on, police for protection out in these outlying areas. You hurt them for no apparent reason than to virtue signal, right?
Yeah.
This is going to have real cost. There's going to be real people that are hurt, and real lives are going to be at stake because of this decision. And here's the thing is that this isn't just going to pay people to round up, illegal aliens. This pays for vehicles that don't just haul illegal aliens around. This pays for vehicles that patrol these outlying areas. It pays for equipment to patrol these outlying areas. It pays for salaries to patrol these outlying areas, and that's gone, right?
Yeah.
It's not even that this was new funding. This is funding that the Sheriff's Department has depended upon year after year.
Yep.
So they've shorted the department $1.4 million.
So what's government's responsibility? Public safety, infrastructure, and parks. And, maybe a few other things. But that's the main thing. Public safety and infrastructure, especially. Those are the big two. This is, public safety. And all because they hate President Trump is really the main reason that this is happening. Now,
and there is no difference in policy of what's going to happen now, a year from now, or a year ago.
Right.
It's going to remain constant, other than the funding's gone.
Or during the Obama administration. I mean, this was going on during the Obama administration. This is help. This is help for border counties to help enforce the law in their counties because we have extra illegal traffic, and when you have illegal traffic, you have illegal things that happen.
And basically, all this is the federal government reimbursing the county for all the extra time and effort we need to be part of the Border Patrol. I mean, we're not part of the Border Patrol, but we have things that happen here.
Sure. And
that's the federal government recognizing, you guys have an undue burden that the rest of the counties in the United States may not have. Here's extra money to help offset that. And we're saying, you know what? No, we're not going to take that money because we're morons.
Because we're Pima County Democrats who are virtue signaling. And the really sad part about this is my money. I'm sending this money to the federal government, and the federal government in their wisdom is sending it back to me. That's a whole nother show, and maybe we'll touch on that a little bit. But when the government is giving you back your money, you take it.
Well, and again, there's a reason for it. It's not just a random, thing. There's a reason for it. It's a good reason.
Yeah.
It's to offset the extra cost that we have in because of where we're located.
Yep. Now here's the other thing. You probably are friends with Mark Napier on Facebook, as I am, and so you probably saw his post this morning. Fox and Friends interviewed him this morning. I don't know, like 4:30 in the morning. He wasn't sure when it was going to air. I haven't seen it yet, but something else went off in my brain. I'm gonna see what you think about this. This is getting national attention now. This kind of confirms Republicans' feelings. Well, Democrats are out there saying get rid of ICE. We like illegal immigration. This is going to be one more piece of that narrative that feeds into this. And I'm wondering if inadvertently the Pima County Democrats may actually end up helping some Republicans in the midterm.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think, look, if you're on the fence about things like this, get out and vote. Don't be saying, here's the thing. My favorite thing, there's all those people out there that the big Trump supporters, right?
Yeah.
That would never, ever vote for Martha McSally, right?
Right.
Can you imagine them going up to Donald Trump and say, you know what? I support you so much. I'm going to send you Kyrsten Sinema as a senator. Can you imagine what he would say to them?
Right.
Can you imagine that conversation? Because I just can't see how you can justify, I want to do everything I can to help Donald Trump, but I'm going to send him Kyrsten Sinema as a senator. Because you know what? I understand your person didn't win. I get it.
Right.
But if you really want to make a difference, and get out there and support people, and if you want to spend money and time, find somebody you can support that's in the general election.
Yeah.
Right. It may not even be a senator. Just vote if you have to. You don't have to go out and knock doors or anything.
Right.
But don't be stupid.
Yeah. Don't stay home. I mean, it's especially midterm elections when you don't have a presidential candidacy there at the top of the ticket. The turnout's going to be less. And so your turnout is amplified that much more. Yeah.
And again, like I say, if you're a Trump supporter and you're saying you can't vote under any circumstance, vote for Martha McSally, I just imagine you tell him that and think what he would tell you. Right?
Exactly right.
He would think you're an idiot.
Exactly right. The TV commercials haven't gotten too crazy yet. I'm a little surprised.
No, we still have a ways.
Okay, all right.
Okay. And that's the thing is, what's going to be nice is that this is so important, and those candidates have so much money. I think it's going to squeeze out some of those inane, independent committee ads, which is the worst ads ever.
Yeah.
I'm convinced that the independent expenditure, people are just people spending money to make money. I don't think they don't really help or do anything to influence people one way or the other, because the ads are just so terrible.
So explain that. How are they making money? Are they the ones who send out those emails that say, such and such did this terrible thing and we need to fight it, send us $10? Is that what's going on?
Yeah, they're fundraising. Like I say, they raise money and then they send out, they spend on these ads that they probably did in their own production studio, and they're just terrible.
Yeah.
They're not good ads.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're putting your name on something as a candidate, chances are the ads are going to be much better, much more positive.
Yeah.
Because that's if you put the I'm so and so and I paid for this, or I approve this ad, the quality of the ads is going to be much better. Just because that's your name on things. If you're just putting out there just to slime and smear people with independent expenditures, those are just bad ads.
So I don't know who's doing Kyrsten Sinema's ads, but they are amazing. They're great. If I didn't know her and know about her, I'd be like, wow, this is a real good quality person and candidate who shares some of my values. Now I know better, but if I didn't know better, I'd be like, those are pretty amazing ads. Now on the flip side, Martha McSally's ads are equally amazing. So
yeah,
that's just to underscore your point, those Senate candidate ads are fantastic.
This is a huge swing district this year. So again, there's going to be lots of money spent on this, and that means you get better quality people, better quality, campaign manager, and better quality people putting together the ads.
Right. You're going to have the Democrat ads like directed by Cameron or something. I don't know who would direct the Republican ads. Do we have any Republican famous directors out there? I don't know. I can't.
I'm sure we do.
I'm sure there's someone out there. So anyway, it's just
they just can't be public about it because then they get fired.
Now, last time we talked, I don't know if this was on air or off air, but I think it was on air. I was talking about Leah Marquez Peterson. It might not have even been you. It might have been you. I was a little concerned because I didn't think her primary spot was very strong. Her camera presence wasn't great. She seemed, you could see the nervousness in the ad. Now she has a new ad out, and 1,000% better, Leah. If you hear this, 1,000% better. I mean, I really like it. She comes across really well, and so it's just an observation I had.
Well, I think part of this too. I think she was kind of biding her time because she didn't want to go far to the right in order to win the primary.
Right.
I think she did just enough that she fought to secure that way she doesn't typecast herself going into the general in a pretty big swing district. We know the formula of what wins in that district. And so she's trying to stick to that script and not have to go a knife fight with ultra conservatives on the one hand.
Right. Well, because you look at who's won that seat in the past when it was CD8. We had Colby, we had Giffords, we've had Barber, and McSally. I mean, these are not far left or far right people.
Yeah, and again, and it's becoming the edges are knocked off pretty much. It's pretty much there's a role you play to get that seat.
Right.
You strong military.
Right.
Being a woman doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
Like
when Giffords was running, she was firing semi-automatic guns and was a big advocate for the Second Amendment during her race. So it's those types of things that Democrats do and Republicans do to get the crossover. Basically, get that broad middle.
Yeah.
Yeah. So did you watch the Apple event today?
I saw parts of it.
Yeah.
I just can't watch it.
Yeah.
It's just such overhyped. I don't know. It's empty calories. I want to see real stuff.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear it's not tech. It's theater.
Yep. Oh,
and half of what's promised,
right?
and half of what's promised is never delivered. It's never we're still waiting on. There's a bunch of products that people have been waiting years for them to announce that also got skipped. At this time around. So
yeah, the charge pad that was supposed to come, they announced it a year ago, and people thought for sure that they would announce it this year. That they were finally coming out with this. You could wirelessly charge your iPhone, your Apple Watch, and your EarPods all at the same time. Not a peep today. Not a peep.
Well, and I think I've mentioned this earlier. Apple is probably one of the top 5 most powerful companies in the world at this point.
Yeah, first to $1 trillion, right?
This is their absolute peak right now.
Mm-hmm.
They'll 10 years from now, you're going to look back and say, yep, they peaked about this time right here. Because after Steve Jobs left, they really haven't innovated.
They really haven't.
They really haven't done anything. And that's a difficult spot to be in. It's not like that's an easy thing to do.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: when you have as much market capital as they do, you don't have to innovate. You just keep selling the same thing year after year. People keep buying it until somebody sneaks up on you and comes up with something better.
Yeah. So you're right. So they came up with the iPhone, which revolutionized phones. That was 10 years ago. And then it's changed a little bit from year to year, and other phone makers have made some changes that have pushed things forward, but basically they're all making kind of the same phone. Apple came up with the iPad. Weren't they the first ones to come up with a tablet with the iPad? Yeah.
I mean, and all that was derivative of the iPod, which is really where they innovated. Right, that was the thing. Basically, they added a phone to the iPod. Bam, that's your thing. So they're still kind of running on the fumes of the iPod. I mean, the iPhone is but it was just basically, upgrade from and they added a camera to it. So they've done things, but the iPod was their big, that was their killer app. And they've added things to, basically they've just been upgrading the iPod for, 2 decades now.
Just adding,
and that's what it comes down to.
Adding apps and cameras, right?
Exactly. And like I said, what they don't understand is that is that people are going to even move away from actually having to have these things with them, right?
Yeah, that's
you won't need
true.
a phone. You won't need those things,
right.
and that technology is coming closer and closer, and we're not sure where it's going to come from, what's going to happen, but they're just not innovating.
So
we're
going to have the 5G chips in our heads, or what?
Yeah, I mean, it could be, or glasses, or
glasses,
or even or even just wherever you go, you carry a chip around you, and whatever screen you get next to, that's your thing, right?
Yeah. So here's what happened at the Apple event that really upsets me about Apple, I guess. And I have the iPhone 10, so I'm making payments on
You are a fanboy.
I'm making payments on $1,000 phone, and I went from the Pixel. I had the Pixel before this, so I bounced back and forth. I really want the Note 9 now. So let's compare $1,000 phones. The Note 9, $1,000, starts at 128 gigabytes of storage with expandable storage on board. You can put an SD card in there, up to 512 gigabytes if you want to spend that kind of money. So way more storage. The cameras are better on the Note 9 than they are on the iPhone 10. We'll see about these new phones. What else? You have the S Pen, so you can draw.
So let's be honest.
Notes,
let's be honest.
Color.
The phone on the iPhone 10 is as good as anybody's probably ever going to need, right?
Right. Correct.
So I mean, anything more than that, I mean, you're starting to get to the point where you've way surpassed the law of diminishing returns, right?
Yeah. And these are computers. I mean, they are. They're computers in your pocket. So today's event, this really made me mad. So they have the iPhone 10s. Basically, it's the 10, 5.8-inch screen, little better display, 64 gigabytes of storage still. The phone, I mean, the cameras are the same cameras. A little bit on the back end, some software things that they've improved. We'll see how much improvement from the cameras, but, probably minimal. $1,000. Then the iPhone 10s Max, what a horrible name, 6.5-inch screen, $1,100, 64 gigabytes of storage. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they really need you to pay extra for their
it's
their iCloud.
It's too much. It's too much. That's a great phone at $800, not $1,100.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. And then the thing is, those don't really come down in price either. It's not like you can, like with other technology, you wait a year and they would be $800.
Yep, that's right. So I guess I'm hanging on to my 10 unless Samsung tomorrow says, hey, now that you've seen the new iPhones, how about you let us pay off your current iPhone to get into a Note 9? So if they do something like that, I'll switch. But I'm probably
that's just stuck. It. I mean, like going back to the 80s.
Yeah.
Everything was IBM. Everything was. You would never get fired for buying IBM.
Right.
But then some point, bam, it wasn't. And that same thing was going to happen to Apple. And it's kind of crazy because that was the whole reason the being was not be IBM. Back in 2000, back in 1984, they had that commercial where they broke out and said, "We're different. We're going to be different." They are IBM now.
Yeah, and it's shocking to me that they didn't even make that effort to at least give us 128 gigabytes of storage at the starting storage amount for $1,000, $1,100. That to me is the shocking part. Crazy. All right, let's talk about cutting the cord real quick before I have to let you go. Things have gotten really a lot better in my world, and DirecTV Now has really stepped up its game. Now, just to remind everyone, or if you're just now meeting me to tell you for the first time, when DirecTV Now first launched, they had a special where if you got in at $35 a month and paid 3 months up front, you get a free Apple TV. Before it was 4K, free Apple TV, and you would be grandfathered into their best package, which had over 100 channels. Since then, they've raised it $5. I'm paying $40 a month. I have over 100 channels. They have now added all of the local stations. They added HBO at some point. They've added all kinds of. I got NFL Network this year. I'm just happy.
Yeah, I mean, and a lot of the local stations are coming on board with all the other people too, like PlayStation View.
Mm-hmm.
You know, depending on what you want, you can find a package where you can get it at either half to a third of what you're paying right now for cable or DirecTV.
Yeah.
And basically have every single thing that you had then now with those things. You know, and you know, your DVR is not local, so it's, you know, it's on the cloud.
Yep.
So you can take it with you. So if your DVR things are stored, if you want to watch on your phone while you're going to work, all your DVR stuff is stored basically on the cloud, and you can watch it then. If it's not automatically DVR'd for you, most shows are actually automatically recorded and available for watching as soon as they're done playing. It's amazing.
It really is. And in my circumstance with DirecTV Now and being grandfathered in and everything, I can stream 2 devices at once. So I'm a big football fan. So Saturday and Sunday, if I want, I can watch one game on my TV and I can watch a second game on my iPad. It's amazing. And as you said, the DVR's in the cloud. So like if I want, I can take my iPad to Starbucks and watch my show there.
Yeah. It's, you know, and again, technology is just changing, morphing so much.
Yep.
And the amazing thing is that it's not platform specific of what's happening. Like most all the other people have it. So you're not having like one market leader making all the changes. It's just happening organically, which is amazing because it just means we get things a lot faster without having to wait for copyrights to move away. And it's really a good time to be a tech consumer.
Yeah, the tide is really starting to turn. Last year, I was really frustrated because I couldn't get the local stations on DirecTV Now. They didn't have them. And I'm right up against Push Peak, so I was shadowed from the signals except for CBS because they have a tower on the Tucson Mountains. So I couldn't get a lot of my football, and a lot of my football wouldn't let me watch it online because they said I didn't have the proper package, so I couldn't sign in. I was really frustrated last year. That has been fixed for me this year, but I imagine there's still people in that boat. We're probably not all the way there yet.
Yeah. Yeah, again, but it's coming there, and you know, and I think some of the people who provide content are starting to understand what new rules are going to be. Which that's where it's going to be a hang up. You know, like ESPN thinking that this cable thing they could save that somehow. It's not going to happen.
No, ESPN I thought made a really smart move. They had the ESPN app where if you're a cable subscriber, you know, you could watch any game that they had on through the app. What they've done now is it's E Plus, I think it's called. So it's $5 a month, and so they're not requiring the cable requirement, just $5 a month, and you have access. And I think that's brilliant on their part for 2 reasons: because people are cutting the cord, and maybe they don't want the service, but they can still get their live sports for $5 a month. Millions and millions of people are going to do that. Maybe ESPN can quit firing people.
Well, yeah. Well, they also decided too that maybe they don't need to be in the business of providing politics for people too. So that's going to be helpful as well.
Yeah, good luck with that. That's never going to stop. It's not. And you know, and I am, much to the consternation of quite a few of my friends who are protesting the NFL protests by not watching the NFL. You know, it's a free country. If you want to protest whatever you want to protest during the national anthem, I don't like it. But I'm not going to give up my football for that. I don't watch you because you're a politician. I watch you because you're an amazing athlete who plays for or against my team. And so I love you or hate you for that reason alone. So I'm not giving up my football, but it kind of angers some people that I won't.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is that you're free to choose as you want to do. Nobody should shame or, you know, for whatever products you choose to consume. That's up to you. And I think people that are trying to, you know, enforce, you know, again, don't enforce your morality on other people.
Yeah.
Just stop.
I like that. Now, I will say this, and it's my choice. I don't care if you go see the movie. But First Man, I was all pumped about. But then when I found out they kind of left out the American flag being planted on the moon, and I guess they did it on purpose, that upset me, and so I'm not going to see the movie now. So,
yeah, I mean, but here's the thing that you got to realize about
I'm
that.
contradicting myself.
Yeah, part of that's because the movie was largely funded by China. So, and you see that in a lot of the movies you watch nowadays. You know, they have extra, you know, things that were included with you know, references to China or Chinese actors, or they actually take place in parts of China, just because, you know, a lot of money's coming into Hollywood from China, because Hollywood's kind of, you know, they've hurt themselves to the point where they needed extra funding sources.
Wow.
So that's what's happened.
Wow. I had no idea.
Yeah.
I'm still not going to see it. I mean, that the whole point of the space race was because we were in competition with Russia to be the first ones to the moon. That's the whole point.
It seems like you can't really justify that from a storytelling angle, you know, because again, you know, that's what the story was.
Yeah.
I mean, you're basically creating a different story than what happened. Exactly. So, and I'm not really interested in seeing that, like you said.
That's bad behavior. I know I'm contradicting myself. I will watch the NFL, but I won't watch First Man. But hey, it's my crazy mixed up life, right?
Yes. Why do you hate the Chinese? That's the problem. We got to talk about.
I don't hate the Chinese. I think every person I've met of Chinese descent has been fine. I think we're good. Now the communist Chinese, I have a little problem with communism. I have a problem with that. How do you think? How do you feel about Google working with China to have a search engine that blocks stuff China wants blocked?
Well, that's who they are. You know, I think it's that, you know, I understand the business decision for it and why they did it, but don't pretend you're something you're not.
Yeah, right. Are they tracking the Chinese like they're tracking us?
Probably.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, that's where the money is. That's, again, they're not a service. You're the product.
We're the product, correct. And I go back and forth because I like Apple. They're a little more secure. They're a little more privacy conscious. But then as soon as you move that Google Maps over there, you destroyed the whole purpose of that. You know, or if you watch YouTube videos or post YouTube videos, or I don't know, what else do they have? Use Google Keep, or all of their great products. It's all tracking you.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the point of it.
It is. That's the point. Trent, thank you so much for doing this, my friend. I appreciate it. It's a podcast.
I'm glad I could help.
Yeah, it's a podcast now. So
is it going to be cut up, or is this the entire thing?
Oh, this will not be cut up. This entire thing will post as audio. If I can take the side panel off my computer and get a portable fan in there or something, maybe I can render the whole thing as a YouTube, because I started a new YouTube channel with the podcast. So at the very least, there'll be an excerpt or more on the YouTube channel. But yeah, the whole audio is going up there, buddy. No editing.
Sounds good.
It did sound good. All right, you're the man. I'll let you get on with the rest of your day. Thanks, Trent. Appreciate you.
No problem. Glad I could help.
Trent Humphries, ladies and gentlemen, and if you remember, co-founder of the Tucson Tea Party, and also Blasted Contraption Computers is his business. So if you want help with cutting the cord, if you're interested in fixing the fan on your computer or networking, anything like that, he can handle it for you. So check him out online. You can find him, Blasted Contraption Computers. I'm sure just Google it, and then Google will know where you are, and you'll know where he is. It works. It's great. It's fantastic. All right, that is our show for today. I forgot to talk to Trent about this, but I think I'm going to set up a Patreon so that if you want to support the show, you can. So more about that if I do it, or when I will do it, but when I do it. Otherwise, that is episode number 2 in the books of Mike Check with Mike Shaw. Again, thank you for tuning in. Yesterday I said we would have Lisa Ruth on today. I misspoke. We had Trent on today. Lisa Ruth is tomorrow. We'll have lots to talk about with her. All right. Again, thanks for tuning in. As always, may God's love ever be with you.